So this is the last short video, and for section 4.2, and this is important, and we're going to explain this. This is really, we use ratios and rates to make comparisons. Absolute numbers are not used to make comparisons. And this is an example explaining that. This last example illustrates why they're so useful, comparisons. It wouldn't make sense to compare the number of absolute births in the United States, which was over 4 million in 2018, to England, which is under 1 million in 2018, or Mexico, which is 2.2 million in 2018, because the overall populations are not the same. If we wanted to ask the question, which of these countries is having more babies? By looking at just the raw numbers, you don't really get a insight into women and how many babies they're having in these different countries. But we can calculate different rates. So to do that, we're going to look at the population. There's the population of the United States, the population of England, population of Mexico. So now we know how many births there were in each country, and now we know what the populations were. So this one looks at, I think it's the United States. Yes, it's the United States. That's the United States births, the total population, cross multiply and divide, and we get 12.4. Now we scale this to 1,000. So there's 12.4 births per 1,000 people in the population. We do England, it's going to be the same idea. Set up the proportion, births to population, cross multiply and divide, and we get 12. So in 2018, England had a rate of 12 births per 1,000 people in the population. And finally, if we look at Mexico, they had over 2 million births. There's 125 million people there. We're going to scale this ratio to some number over 1,000. And so cross multiply and divide, we get that. And so there's 18.1 births for every 1,000 people in the population. So we can see that the birth rate in Mexico is significantly higher than the birth rate in England or the birth rate in the United States. In fact, the birth rate in the United States is a little bit more is higher than the birth rate in England. So that's comparisons, right? We're making comparisons. Now we're going to look at this one, or we're going to work through it a little bit, but we're going to look at how safe are the following colleges. Compute the rates per 10,000 to allow for a comparison of the crime rates. So you decided to transfer to a college and have narrowed it to a list of 5 schools. One of your considerations is safety. We may all have different definitions of safety, so to clarify it, we're going to talk about safety as nonviolent crimes, the fewest nonviolent crimes. And there's the FBI definition of what a violent crime is. So that's the data you get. This is the data you're getting from the FBI database. That's where I got it. And so I'll bring it up. The college, Michigan State University, number of violent crimes, 27. Let me actually bring that down so you can see it. Arizona State University had 35 crimes. Penn State, 39. Tennessee State, 13. University of Texas, Houston, 21. So while it is true that Penn State had the highest number of violent crimes and Tennessee State had the lowest, is it true to say Penn State is the college is more violent? If you were considering Tennessee And would you consider Tennessee State University here the safest in your selection? So, and the answer is no. You can't just look at the raw numbers. There's many more students may go to Michigan State than to Tennessee State, so their actual crime rate might be lower. These are absolute numbers. So I'm going to fill these in, but we'll do one. We'll show you how to do one. So we're going to we'll do our ratio here. 27 is Michigan State, which is the one we're going to do. 27 violent crimes for over 50,000 students. And we're going to rescale that so that the bottom number is 10,000. So we do that by cross-multiplying and dividing. So you might want to pause it and see if you can get the right answer. And the answer is 5.39. So there is 5.39 violent crimes at Michigan State University in the year in which we're talking for every 10,000 students. Now, importantly, this ratio here is the same as this ratio here, just like 1/2 is the same as 4/8. So now I'll just do it for the rest of the schools and we'll take a look. So there's the numbers for the rest of the schools. So you can see that the University of Houston, Texas, University of Texas in Houston, probably because it's a major city, has significantly higher crime rate per 10,000 students. Now, the last point here is that these rates here, these just the number of crimes, the number of violent crimes, absolute numbers. But we turn them into rates, in this case per 10,000, then we can compare.